Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth Tabor, and I just want to talk about the speech that I listened to. Now this speech is called The Four Freedoms, and it was given by Franklin Roosevelt on January 6, 1941. Now the reason why this speech is so important was because it was addressed to the American people during World War II. The main point of the speech is to review the four freedoms that America holds so dearly. The first freedom is the freedom of speech and expression. The second freedom is the freedom of religion. The freedom of religion is the freedom to worship God in any way that people choose. The third freedom is the freedom from want. This simply means the freedom to be able to have what you need to survive or to have economic security. The fourth freedom is the freedom from fear, or the freedom from aggression from other countries, or the freedom of war. So it's kind of like he wanted to come to a state where there would be world peace or no war ever. So some of the nonverbal cues that I noticed while I was watching this video was first the way that when he wanted to emphasize something really important, he would raise the pitch of his voice. Another gesture that I noticed him doing was a constant nodding of his head. I'm not sure why he did this, but I think he did this because he wanted to express himself. For example, some people, when they're trying to express themselves, use different gestures in order to communicate to the audience more effectively. The next question is, what were some things that hindered you or made it hard for you to listen during the video? And I would say probably the most prominent one was during the video there was a background noise that made it really hard for me to listen and hear what he was saying. Another thing that made it really hard for me to listen was the way that he was constantly changing the pitch of his voice. So sometimes he was really loud, and then other times he was really, really quiet, and that just made it really hard for me. Another thing I found very hard was sometimes he would use words that I just couldn't understand, and I just couldn't understand them. And so luckily on the website that had the video, it had words that basically explained what the video was about. And so I would look at the words to this video and then I'd be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That is what he's trying to say. So the next question is very much like the first question. It says, what activities distracted you from your ability to listen? As I said before, the background noise was really distracting, as well as the constant moving of his head from this way and that way. And also, something else that I found really distracting was the way that he would pause while he was speaking. So for example, he would be saying a sentence and then some reason he would just suddenly pause, and I'll be like, I kind of want to know the rest of your sentence. So I found this really distracting because I think he did this for emphasis, but it was distracting because I was like, I want to hear the end of what he wants to say. Okay, so the last question, are there any tasks you feel you can do that you can do without affecting your listening? And I don't think it's so much the task that makes it hard for me to listen, but the background noise or what's happening in the background. So it's not the activity that determines how well I listen, but really it's how something is communicated or the way it's communicated. So for example, in the video, as I said before, he would be communicating, and it wasn't because he was communicating not that he wasn't communicating well, but it was because there was distractions in the background that made it really hard for me to concentrate. And as I said before, some of those distractions were the changes of his voice, the change of pitch of his voice and also the nodding of his head. So when I'm doing a task, I can usually do two tasks at once. For example, doing a puzzle and listening to music. But it still applies the same thing. So when I'm doing a puzzle, if I'm listening to music, I usually won't get distracted. But if the music suddenly pauses or suddenly changes, then it's hard for me to concentrate. So I just want to say that this exercise has really helped me see that I really need to improve my listening skills, and yeah, I'm really trying to work on this.